mind, your cover page and your reference page do not count for the 1 to 2 pages. And the presumption is that everything's double spaced, 12 point Times New Roman. Okay. If it's the paper, if it's the grid, it doesn't have to be 12 points. It could be probably as little as 10, and it doesn't have to be double spaced. And that would give you the opportunity to put the grid on one page and comment on the other. But most of you have already done it, so that's probably a lost opportunity here. But you will probably need to recreate that grid for the final. So, during your downtime, you may want to, consider tweaking that. I want to also mention, and again, I've mentioned this to many of you, but not all of you necessarily. Why are we putting those 3 departments together in particular? Because sales and marketing and operations can produce a synergy that is critical at this juncture of the evolution of the park. The fact of the matter is, sales is on the ground interfacing with consumers all the time. They can feed marketing the skinny, the pulse of our consumers, and help craft the crisis communication plan in a way that no other department can. As far as operations is concerned, whatever marketing can't market themselves in their communication, operations can operationalize. Okay, so it's operations that would make sure that anybody who's watering the plants is not leaving puddles on the walkway where somebody can slip, that kind of thing. So just bear that in mind. There is a reason why those 3 departments. Of course, any organization is going to want all their departments working as seamlessly and as closely together as possible, regardless. But what's also true is we're crafting a communication plan to address the crisis. We want to be able to speak with one voice. And with regards to that one voice, who are we communicating to? There's external and internal stakeholders. Yes, and they are grouped by basic generic kind of groupings. Vendors is a group, and employees is a group, and community is a group, and so on. But the fact of the matter is, let's say we're talking about employees. The kid who sells snow cones is not going to get the same level of communication as the CEO. Similarly, out in the community, the family that lives 5 blocks from the park is not going to get the same communication updates that the mayor is going to get. So that's a subtle nuance that I haven't seen anybody bring to bear, and you will want to consider those nuances, because it's not just a matter of speaking with one voice, but we also want to say as much as needs to be said to each of our constituents and no more. And it's not that we're not looking to be transparent. It's that we don't want to put it in your face that we had an incident and we had an incident and we had no. We get that we had an incident. We get that you get it. But depending on who you are, we'll address it as is most appropriate. And like I said, the snow cone kid doesn't need to know what the CEO needs to know. So there's that. Legal and ethical. It's all about doing the right thing. Okay? How far can we take that? Well, let's take it as far as we possibly can. I'm sure there's a budget and we don't want to be ridiculous, but would it really cost the park so much more that it's not cost effective to have only recyclable material in the park. There's, you know, plasticware can now be made to be recyclable. Coffee cups can now be made to be recyclable. Beverage cups of all kinds. Paper, and you know, we can reduce plastic or get rid of it. Um, we don't have to make bottles of water available to people. We can sell um, we can sell water bottles that are reusable. And when we do, we can say, here, buy this. You can use it for the rest of your life. You own it. But while you're in the park, we'll refill it all day long for free. With iced tea or lemonade, or, I'm not a big fan of soda, but soda, that sort of thing. Legal, similarly, it's just the basic stuff, for goodness sakes. You know, we don't want to misrepresent. We don't want to speak out of turn, and say things that are not necessarily true. And during this downtime, where we're taking advantage of the downtime by re-educating our employees, that's one of the things that we need to hit home, because when the park reopens, these employees are going to be asked about the incident. And while we want them to reassure the customer, we don't want them to make crap up. And so we need to be very clean and clear and surgical about how we um, re-educate, and what we're communicating, um, in that consideration. We always want to be strategic. We always want to um, be extraordinary. If you want that exceeds when I'm grading, don't give me ordinary when extraordinary is possible. Remember things like the triple bottom line: profit, people, and the planet. When it comes to what we were just talking about with regards to ethics, you know, corporate social responsibility is in part a matter of how are we positioned in relationship to the planet. So, with that in mind, I've talked for quite a bit, and I usually would not go on this long, but it is a milestone. There's only two milestones, and then the third milestone is a collection of the first, the second, and all that you've learned after the second, tying it all together. And that being the case, this being your first milestone, I wanted to do a quick overview of how far we've come, like literally. Again, as usual, please take a look at not just the rest of the announcement in text, but I would encourage you folks to take advantage of the recorded session. Besides this, there is a recorded session. Professor Small here does an excellent job. I applaud him completely. Very comprehensive, and so there's a link in the notes about that as well. And hey, as usual, I'll see you in the classroom. Thanks, and I'm always available. Please don't hesitate to send me an email if you need. All right, see you there.